Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Chris Bucci, and today we're going to take a look at another game in my pinball machine collection. And today we're going to look at Bally Williams's The Shadow. Now The Shadow is kind of similar to Johnny Mnemonic, another game that we talked about. And that is because it is based on a license that really isn't that popular. Funny enough, the game itself has become a collector favorite, and that's mostly because of the way it plays. It plays very difficult. It's sort of an above average game player's game, and I think as a result, the collectors really like it. A lot of collectors out there feel this is the worst artwork ever seen. I mean, it's to the point where some collectors and people will not even buy this game because they hate the Translite more than life itself. I mean, to be honest, it's not my most favorite Translite in the world. It's got a strange shading to it, and I do wish that the shadow in the background was more prominent, but you know what? It's not that bad. And some of the collectors and people out there just need to calm down. It's not that great, but it's not that bad. But anyway, now my Shadow actually has an interesting story. I happened to come across it in an operator's backyard barn. This operator locally, he stuffed these two games away in a barn, hoping someday some pinball loser would show up and buy them, and ta-da! So I showed up one day. It was a Williams Riverboat Gambler and then a Bally Williams Shadow. And I flipped the Riverboat Gambler and I kept the game that I really wanted, which was the Shadow. I ended up in the end spending about $450 for this game, which is pretty cool. It was a hell of a deal. The Shadow obviously is based on the movie, and as a result it follows the movie storyline, plotline, some of that kind of stuff. If we take a look, the main modes in the game are right in the center. And what you need to do is complete all scenes, which is what I just said. Conquer the battlefield, which is that little mini playfield. Play Shadow multi-ball and play Con multi-ball. If you can do that, you can complete the scarf, and then you can do the final battle. The final battle in the Shadow is really cool because it's actually a game where you have to complete all the shots in the game in order to win, and you're not going to do it every time. So you have to bust your butt to get to the final battle, and then when you do, you got to try to beat the final battle, and it doesn't always happen. So again, collectors love this stuff. They love this game because of that. It's got a lot of stuff, a lot of really cool stuff in it. I print up little cards on my games to replace the for amusement only card, and usually I just put some information about my particular game because my friends and people that come over seem to find that interesting. Actually, if we take a look here, I wrote on the instruction card here, aside from, of course, rebuilding and cleaning every part, the back box was repainted with new reproduction head decals. Yeah, the head decals in this game were not actually silkscreen, they were just decals, and so they were pretty torn up, so I bought some reproduction decals, which look great. The diverters, which are a big part of this game, they're on each one of the ramps, and they are player controlled. Often start to wear after a while, then they start to bang the side of the ramps, and you really get a lot of wear by the edge of the ramps. There's just a tiny bit here, it's not too bad. Well, what you want to do is buy brand new parts for underneath the diverters to keep them from banging the side of the ramps, and now they have perfect motion. Those, I completely rebuilt them underneath. The mini playfield I had to rebuild. This one takes a little bit of a beating, and underneath it, the coil and kicker were completely fried. I mean, they were really, really messed up. And I had to completely tear this apart, buy a whole new bunch of parts, and rebuild this thing, and now it's working really well. A lot of the games have either plungers or they have a button you press. But this particular one has a gun, and it's kind of cool. And this is actually a brand new old stock gun. You can see it has a real nice shiny finish to it. I had to do some board repair and rebuild some of the connectors. What you have is, a lot of times these lights are out on a pinball machine, and a lot of times it's because the connectors on the inside get all burned up, and what you need to do is completely rebuild that area. if you're going to be a pinball collector, especially in the solid state era of pinball, you're going to have to get used to doing that. That's going to be a very common thing. It's very easy. You just got to get used to doing it. The other one thing I do want to point out that is really cool is the lock area. It actually holds the ball, and then the ball sort of swooshes behind, like the shadow disappears, and the ball is the shadow. It's a really, really neat gimmick. The magnet under there, because it holds the ball, it eventually starts to sort of burn away the playfield. It gets divots in there and it burns it. This one wasn't too bad, so what I did is I just painted and tried to color match the best I can that area, and I put a piece of Mylar over it to protect it. And it actually came out okay. I mean, if you look real close, you can see the color difference, but from the player's perspective, I think it came out nice. I put a lot of work into this game because I thought, what the heck, I only spent 450 bucks, and when it's all said and done, it's going to be totally worth it. And this game is a nice specimen of the Shadow. The cabinet's in great shape, and it's structurally a really nice version of the Shadow. And after a little bit of TLC, we got it to above average status, and now it's very good. Putt-putt golfing games used to be my second home while I was growing up. I used to play arcade games and pinball there a lot, and the Shadow was the last pinball machine that I can remember playing before putt-putt closed, like by my house. And so I have a lot of memories of going there and playing the Shadow. After that, they got rid of pinball. They had very little for like another year or so, and then they closed. And so this particular one is really nostalgic to me because it was the last game that I played at putt-putt. I didn't play it a lot though as a kid, but I do have some nostalgic ties to this game, and I'm glad that I did eventually get it. And it definitely is a player's game, no question. It's fun to play. There's a lot going on, and I'm really glad that I have it. There's a closer look at the Shadow, and see ya.
The sun is shining, but the ice is slippery.